Hey man, let me tell you something most men don't understand until it's too late. Not because we're stupid, not because we weren't warned, but because it goes against everything we're taught about love, connection, and women. And it's this. Most women, good women, beautiful women, smart women, are living in a world that doesn't really exist. A world made of emotions, not reality. A world shaped by feelings, not facts. It's not evil, it's not intentional, and it's not even personal. It's just how they've been wired, and more importantly, how they've been trained. From the time she was a little girl, she was fed this story. That love should feel like magic, that the right man will just know what she needs, that a prince will appear, solve her confusion, make her feel whole, and never, ever mess up. So, she grows up chasing the feeling of something, not the substance of someone, and that feeling becomes her compass, even when it leads her straight into chaos. You ever had a woman look you dead in the eye, say she loves you like no one else ever could, and then vanish the moment things got hard? And you're sitting there wondering, what the hell just happened? How do you go from I love you to I'm done like flipping a switch? Here's how. Because in her world, that love she felt on Monday was real. And by Thursday, if the feeling changed, so did the truth. She wasn't lying. She was just living inside a movie. And you? You were a character. This is why it feels impossible to make sense of her sometimes. Because you're trying to use logic in a world that runs on mood swings. You're talking timelines, and she's talking how she feels about the timeline. You're referencing everything you did for her, and she's talking about how it felt like you didn't do enough. And you could show her proof, messages, receipts, memories. It won't register. Because in her mind, her emotion is the evidence. If she feels neglected, you were neglectful. If she feels unseen, you must not care. There's no courtroom for this, just vibes and verdicts. It's like trying to fix a thunderstorm with a wrench. And yet, here we are, men all over the world trying to build something stable in a place where the ground keeps shifting. Let me say this clearly. A woman doesn't need to be toxic to be confusing. She just needs to be emotionally governed and most are. Not because they're broken, but because they were never taught the difference between a feeling and a fact. And brother, when you start seeing this clearly, it hits you like a freight train. That girl who used to send you 30 love texts a day, she wasn't in love with you. She was in love with how you made her feel in that moment. The butterflies, the spark, and the idea of you. But then life happened. You had a bad day. You got busy. You showed your flaws, and now she doesn't feel the same. So the fantasy shatters. You didn't change. Her mood did. And this is where men lose themselves, chasing that original version of her. Trying to win back the version that adored you, supported you, couldn't stop touching you. But here's the hard truth. That version of her was never meant to last. She was built on emotion, not foundation. So what do? Will you stop playing in a world that doesn't obey reality? You stop trying to stabilize someone else's emotional roller coaster, and you start building your own world where clarity, peace, and truth aren't up for debate. Because you can't lead her out of her fantasy if you're lost in it with her. Most men today are emotionally worn out. Do you know why? It's because they're dating a new version of the same woman every week. One day, she's soft, loving, giggling in your arms. The next day, she's cold, distant, accusing you of things that don't make sense. You didn't change, but the script did. And the worst part is that she doesn't even realize she's doing it. To her, it all feels real. Because she's surrounded by a culture that tells her her feelings are always right. That she deserves more, that she shouldn't settle, that if she's not constantly happy, then something must be wrong with you. So she starts rewriting the story in her head, telling herself that maybe you're not the one, that maybe there's someone better, that maybe she deserves fireworks every single day or it's not love. And guess what? You could be everything she asked for, and still, she'll convince herself you're the villain in her emotional movie. Because the plot needs drama, the story needs tension and reality, it's just not entertaining enough. This is the age of fantasy, brother. Fantasy relationships, fantasy expectations, fantasy men. She's not comparing you to reality. She's comparing you to Instagram filters, 10-second TikToks, and fictional characters written by women who've never had a real relationship themselves. And the scariest part is that she doesn't know she's doing it. She really believes that love should be perfect, that it should never feel boring, that if she's not constantly feeling something, then the relationship must be dying. So when you show up as a real man, consistent, calm, and clear, she calls it boring. Not because it is, but because it doesn't match the chaos she's used to. And if you're not grounded in who you are, you'll start doubting yourself. You'll start wondering, maybe I should try harder, maybe I am too cold, or maybe I'm not enough. No, brother. You're enough. She's just comparing you to a version of love that doesn't exist outside her mind. That's why I say, you've got to be the anchor, not the wave. Let her feel, let her be emotional, let her have moods. But you don't move. You stay planted in logic, in truth, and in vision. Because here's what no one tells you. When you stay grounded, it'll either calm her or it'll scare her. She'll either level up to meet your clarity or she'll run back to her fantasy. Either way, you win. You win because you didn't bend. You didn't chase. You didn't abandon yourself trying to catch someone floating through a dream. The best men I know don't argue. They don't beg. They don't explain themselves 10 times to someone who's not even listening. They observe, they move on, and they stay focused on what they're building. And sometimes, after all the dust settles, after she's chased 100 sparks that all burned out, she remembers you. The calm, the consistency, the one man who never tried to impress her with fantasy, but offered her something terrifying, which is reality. But by then, you're gone. You've outgrown the illusion. You've stopped auditioning for a role in someone else's drama. You're not here to be the supporting actor in her fairy tale. You're the author of your own. And she'll realize it too late, that she lost something solid chasing smoke. So what now? You build, you focus, you sharpen your values, you create a world that's so real, so steady, so strong, that when the right woman shows up, she feels safe without needing chaos to prove it. You stop chasing love that confuses you. You stop proving yourself to women who rewrite history. You stop falling in love with potential and start watching for patterns. And most importantly, you learn to enjoy your own peace. Because when a woman lives in a world that doesn't exist, she's looking for someone to rescue her from herself. But it's not your job. Your job is to be real, steady, vision-led. Not for her, but for you. And the woman who's ready for that, she won't need saving. She'll bring her own peace too. So if you've ever been hurt, confused, or discarded by a woman who seemed perfect one minute and gone the next, it wasn't about you. You were trying to build in the real world. She was acting out a story in her head. Now you know. And now you stop playing in a movie that was never yours to begin with. Let her live in that fantasy if she wants to. But you live here. In truth, in vision, and in strength. And the day she finally wakes up, if she ever does, she'll remember the man who never flinched. And by then, you won't be waiting. You'll be thriving. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.